Welcome everyone to the Infinite Star Connections with your host. I'm Viviane Chauvet, my dear friend Jeff Demers. We are so thrilled to be here. It's good to be back. Welcome back with us. Happy spring energy, and there's a lot of renewal going on. Jeff, my friend, always a pleasure to be here with you.
Glad you're back from Africa.
Yes, yay! My husband and I, Peter and I are back from our amazing, really rich trip to Durban, South Africa. We did a workshop. We did some healing work. We explored. We did a lot of encoding. It was absolutely incredible. It's very much life-changing. We're still both integrating a lot of the new energy, adapting to even the energy of the land. And I brought some rocks, some stones that I picked up in one of their national parks that I can share with everyone on the screen in a moment. So yes, it's good to be back. Thank you, Jeff, for this welcome. We want to announce today that unfortunately our guest, Dr. Rey Hernandez, was unable to join us due to a family event. So we wish them very well and send them, of course, love and light. And of course, I'm sure we'll have an opportunity to speak with Rey at another time about his book on consciousness. We can still explore. Today's going to be an explorative episode altogether. Question, exploration, consciousness, energy, umo, and maybe have some little surprise. We never know. So it's going to be very amazing. Right?
Let's go. Let's rock.
Let's rock and roll. Yes, let's rock. So good to be back. We're going to be, we're just settling in after, I would say, our round trip, Jeff, to go to South Africa. We probably have at least 50 hours of flight time.
Why did it take so long?
Yes, it takes a lot of time, but first I want to welcome everyone. Doreen, Natalie, Megan, Louise, welcome. Lori, Bobby, Lynn, good to see you. Cheryl, Mary Ann, Joanna from Netherlands, we're very happy to have you. And of course, Paul, welcome everyone who also joining us in the chat room. Just to give you a shout out to everyone who's tuning in. Why over 50 hours of flight time to go to South Africa? Well, here's the thing. It's a great question. Is that the fact that we were traveling from Phoenix, Arizona in the United States, and South Africa, Durban in the southeast in South Africa, completely at the opposite hemisphere on the planet. So you have to think that you have to cross oceans and you have to cross many countries to go there. It is a really long flight. We flew from Phoenix to Dallas. We went Dallas Worth Airport, and from Dallas it was a 15 hours straight flight to Doha in Qatar. So we had to go in Qatar, have a layover there, and from Qatar in the middle of the night, 2:00 in the morning, we took another plane about 10, 11 hours to just reach South Africa itself. So it's a very long flight. It's so long of traveling. We traveled over many seas. We traveled over many countries. We ended up coming back. Instead of going back to Qatar, we came back through London. So, we touched down in London, and then from London, coming back to Arizona. So, wow, welcome everybody again. Marianne, Amy, Manuela from Vienna, Nixon, Southwest Florida. A beautiful person from Tahiti in South Pacific Ocean. We're very honored to have you. Wow. Welcome, everybody. Isn't that amazing? And Gigi from Denmark, of course. Liz from DK. Liz, Claire, Crystal, my friend. Good to see you. Shirley, welcome. And Linda from Ontario, Canada. So we're very happy to have you. So today...
Do you think it was longer coming back than it was going there? Because you're going against, right? You're going as the Earth's turning. You're actually arriving quicker.
Well, that's a good question. Actually, in theory, the original schedule was that it would have been just as long to come back as it was to go. But what happened is that when we reached the airport, it's called the King Shaka International Airport in Durban, South Africa. We were at King Shaka Airport on the day of departure. And what happened is that our layover in Qatar was 25 hours. So we were exceeding the allowed time. We only have 24 hours per government rules and regulations. The Qatar government only allows 24 hours when you go through their country for layover. So we were over exceeding our entry point, so we were denied access to Qatar.
Okay.
Yeah, we were denied access to Qatar, and so what happened is that luckily the Qatar Airways company, the airline company, is a jewel. They're amazing, and we spent 4 hours with them, total 8 hours at the airport to fix that, and we ended up flying back with British Airways to London when we came back on the way back. In reality, we saved up about 5 hours of flight time when we came back compared to where we were on the way to Durban, South Africa. So thank you, everyone. Very happy to... Oh, we have a greeting from South Africa, Michaela. Wow, yay! Maureen, that's awesome. We love South Africa. We love the people. I mean, the people are so generous, very welcoming. You can tell it's all heart energy. I love feeling the heart energy of South Africa people, interacting with them, their cuisine, the way they take the time to listen to you, take care of you. I know at the hotel we were so well taken care of. And we want to also say hello to our friends there, Priscilla and Julie, who are native to South Africa, and they were with us the entire time. And we want to welcome all of you. So yes, I got to briefly go to the UK, and I'll tell you what happened. Something happened when we landed in Heathrow Airport in London. So we go there, and then we got into a shuttle to get from one terminal to the other. And you know where I am with my current connections with who I am. I'm constantly always communicating with consciousness. Everything is energy. Everything is energy. So it's always an invitation to communicate and to be in resonance on the conscious level. So we're on a shuttle from one terminal to the other, and it's a big, huge airport. I mean, huge. And so we're traveling, and there was this huge open field, just pure greenery, valleys with trees, pure. I mean, I can feel the energy. So I asked the elemental to tell me their story. What is the story about UK? What is the energy of the ley line? What is the feeling here? Even though I'm just passing through, we are physically in contact and consciously in contact. And I'll tell you, Jeff, and everybody listening right now, the elementals start speaking with me. Now they're speaking through, I'm getting imagery. I'm getting it's almost like an open book, like a history book being opened in front of me. And I started to get impression talking about the history of the land. I was etherically traveling through the ley lines. I went through peeking into London. I went to see the castles. I came back, and we're still physically on the bus traveling from one terminal to the other. But I might be there physically, but I'm traveling. I'm communicating with the line. I'm talking with the elementals. I'm already starting to feel. I got a feeling, an impression of the energy of UK, and especially with the history there. And it was so different from where we just came from with South Africa, where nations speak a different language, different energies, speak of a different history. It speaks of the imprint of the people there, how consciousness evolves. It's really like, I feel like I was traveling to dimensional consciousness. It was incredible, incredible. And I never expected that I would be briefly going through the UK. I thought we were coming back from Qatar again, and we were scheduled to stay one day in Qatar, and from there, in Doha, Doha, Qatar, and then from there coming back to United States. But it was very much the fact that I was thrilled to be redirected to London because I wanted to connect with the energetics of that part of the planet. And it's a place I've always been drawn to, very feel called to. And I have, of course, my good friend Viviane, who lives in Glastonbury. Many of you knows Viviane. So it felt there was a familiarity, and I was able just to, like, opening the timeline, just dip briefly into an history and feel the land, feel the pulse, and bring that gift with me back to Arizona. So just that part alone was incredible, Jeff.
So that the elementals linked you to all that stuff, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. What I do is that we all have the ability to connect to any form of consciousness, whether it's a higher interdimensional beings, whether it's elementals, the earth herself, Gaia. You can talk to her essence or consciousness. You can speak to trees, you can speak to minerals. We all have those faculties, and just I'm extremely attuned, and I can read, decode, feel, and perceive multitude of subtleties of frequency all at once wherever I am. So I took full advantage of being, I was physically there at the airport, and then of course we're traveling around the airport for all these open field. Of course, I projected an essence of myself and start to communicate. And I was able to travel through the ley lines with the elementals.
Why don't you explain to the people that might not know what an elemental is?
Yes, of course. I take things for granted sometimes. It's a good question. A good question. And I'd like to hear from all of you who are joining us to see what is your perception of elementals. Let's go that way.
Yeah, let's go that route first. See if anybody knows what an elemental is.
Yeah, what is your perception of elementals? So please, we welcome your feedback. You can type them in the chat room. We'll read them.
Everybody but Divine, Crackle, because she knows what an elemental is.
Yes, Devon Fractal, of course. Everybody, Teddy, Bobby, Dragonfly, Caroline, Suzanne. We want to hear from you, all of you here. Simon from Glastonbury, talking about the UK. So let's just bring in a little chat room for us, and let's talk about elementals. So in my experience and in my perception, the elementals are part of... I'm sorry?
Mindy's got it.
Who?
Mindy,
fairy, pixie, elves. Yeah, they're part. Well, the fairy, the pixie, and the elves are part of a similar dimensional kingdom, as I call it. The elementals they're like complementary to each other. Fairy, pixie, elves are one aspect.
They're one type. They're one type.
Yeah. Yes, Natalie says, when you say elemental, I see little beings. My understanding is small. Okay. Doreen, to me, I think the elementals or energies are very connected to the earth, like fairies.
Yep.
Like fairies, indeed. Stu, air, water, fire. Yes, elementals. Marianne, the earth, water, air, fire. Again, very good. Perfect.
Yeah, our chat knows what's going on.
Yeah, starseed, elementals of consciousness that hold together the natural world. Really well said. Beautiful. Marjorie, connected to the planet Earth and consciousness of Gaia. Indeed, very much so. Bobby Lynn, I know my garden grows well if I make an effort to ask for help with elementals. This is very true. They will nurture your garden. Emmers, my experience is of fairies in particular. Aren't they magnificent? Pure energy. Surely, second dimensional beings that heal the earth. Wow, really well said. Love
Mhm.
it.
That'll work.
Yeah, absolutely. Megan, potential Vivian, potent Vivian, thank you. Elementals I perceive as wind being, fire beings, plant beings, water beings. I have the privilege of having a fairy called Talita as a personal guide. Aren't they amazing when you work with the fairy? Good for you, Megan. Thank you. Simon from Glastonbury, elemental is a spirit or angel of place. Fairies, they preserve all of the different form of life and land, trees, animals, bird, insect, plants. They nurture and protect. They do. And the more we're in sync with nature, the more we attract them in partnership. That's one thing they taught me is that they're very open to communicate with human beings who are also appreciative of their arts and their work. Absolutely well said. Thank you, Simon. Linda, Sylph, Uden, gnomes, yes, fire energy, fire elementals, red beings,
Have you seen one before?
elementals.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen them in the way they appeared to me was more pure form energy. It's like more like pure ball of pure energy, consciousness. I have
You know,
seen I've seen gnomes.
at our old house in New Baltimore, we had like a field that was like just brush, like a forest, and we knew that there were fairies out there and elementals, and we actually seen a couple. They were just sitting on a bunch of branches, with their wings are like bloop. They would just move, and they'd watch us, and we look at them, and we just like, well, that's pretty cool. Looks like a giant dragonfly, but I've seen two of them.
Oh, wow. And let me ask you this, Jeff, to your own experience, when you've seen the two you just described, how did it feel to you?
I felt a sense of interest both ways
Okay.
and curiosity because I was just like traipsing in their environment. They were just watching, but
Yeah.
we didn't bother them, and we knew they were there. We just left them alone. We just thought it was pretty cool.
That is amazing. That is amazing. Thank you for. I'm glad. I had a feeling that you would have had an experience with them, and some people see them as being like orbs, light orbs.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, we
just
got
pure
orbs
light.
up the ass here, so I mean, they're here every day.
But you have taken many pictures of really different size and shape of light orbs in your house.
Yeah, I
Don't
got
you?
I got videos of them, and I just stopped recording them because there's so many. It's not even worth it. Every time I click record, here they are. Woo, 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 woo.
Yep. They can be.
I can see them during the day too.
Yes. Well, there was an interesting sharing here in the chat room from Kathy. She said when we had a logger come in to thin the forest at the end of the farm, which was necessary, he left some mess. So the fairies, I presume, were buzzing me until I apologized for this mess, and they stopped buzzing after that. They will remember that the fairies, the elementals, um, the gnomes, all of this, they coexist with the earth plane. What's
Yeah.
that?
Yes.
Yes, they do. They coexist with us.
It's their energy too.
Yeah, their energy. They're simply vibrating at a different vibratory level, at a frequency, different frequencies. So some people will feel them. Some of them will see them. It doesn't have to be a form. It can be just an orb. But yes, if messes is created around forest, trees, garden, they're gonna come and says, "Hey, you have to honor that. You have to clear that up." They do. They're really amazing, and rocks too. You can really communicate with rocks. Mindy's asking a good question. I think that would be for you and your team, Jeff. Mindy is asking, is Sasquatch elementals?
I would think that would be a no, because they are a known dimensional entity, and they are not an elemental.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Sasquatch they are a race of their own. They're not necessarily elementals. They just have maybe higher vibrational quality to them or higher dimensional quality to them, but there are two different distinct categories. That is my understanding as well. So perfect. What are the Ponti? What does the Ponti or your group think of the different form of life or consciousness on this earth, like the elementals, fairy, pixies, and so forth?
What do they think of them?
Yes, how they perceive it. I'd be curious to know what the Ponti think about how.
They perceive them as the guardians of the land, right? Is that right, guys? If I'm wrong, right? It's like that, like they belong here and they monitor and they are the guardians of the land.
Fantastic. I had a feeling they would say that.
Yeah, they're clapping.
They're clapping.
It's got to be yes. That means yes.
Good. Good. Perfect. Yeah, somebody talk about also the fourth dimension. That's the beauty with them in vibration, the way they be able. It's what I love about them is that the way they're able to harmonize themselves with the environment, how they be able to harmonize themselves with the rhythm and the pulse of life itself. And if you look the way with a garden, a forest, new trees that just got planted, new seeds are going to germinate, different cycle of life. They're there every step of the way, and are so attuned to the rhythm of life, how life is evolving here, like guardians, like nature, everything. Jennifer is asking, she said, I talk to the elementals all the time when I'm in nature. However, they don't show themselves to me. Do you have to be of a certain frequency to see them?
Well, that's a good question, because we were, I don't think so. It's just, maybe you just have to be more aware of your surroundings, because I wasn't this developed back in the day when we lived in New Baltimore. So, and we just seen them, and we just pretty much ignored them. We knew what they were, but we weren't really interested in it. So, I mean, and we weren't raised our vibration or nothing. It just probably pertains to the environment that you would be in, I would think.
Okay. Well, indeed.
Be aware and accept.
Mm.
Accepting is difficult, and that's coming up in my next paper with the Ponti about accepting, because people reject a lot of stuff that they see, and so if you don't accept it, that sends out like a negative vibe, I guess. You can accept something and not be overcome by it. Sarah explains it. Just hang loose. It's all in the paper.
Okay. Well, acceptance, I think you're touching up on something important here. Acceptance open a door, and acceptance open a door within yourself to recognize yourself or to perceive yourself in a different light. So remember,
but it isn't being overcome by it. Like you're not accepting a bad energy. It's a different. It's just different. I'll explain it in the paper.
Okay, perfect. Well, to come back to the question at hand here, there was a really good one to see. Jennifer asked, do you have to be of a certain frequency to see them? And I would say it will be more a frequency of the heart. So there's no need. I know some people have the gift of sight, their eyes more open than others. Of course, if you are very close onto yourself and only go by logic and what your mind accept, like Jeff said, then it kind of deprives you a little bit to be able to be attuned through the um, different form of life around you, like elementals. But you think, you know how it started? You can just by taking the time to slow down your mind, take the time to just observing or admiring with love and appreciation a flower, and or a flower, a bush, a tree that is just blossoming. Just to admire the beauty of nature attracts them, because at that level you become much more acceptance that you are part of nature, that you're part of the ecosystem, and you're more attuned with your heart energy. And it's one thing that they personally taught me. It's very much they are tuned with those who vibrate at the heart level. And so automatically your vibration, your frequency shifts. If you're someone who just go through life with logic mind, 3D narrative logic mind, but it affects your frequency, accept your vibration, and accept the way you will be able to even recognize a different form of life coexisting with you. It's not just physical 3D, what I can feel or touch. So it's, I would say that there's more layer of complexity to it, but the purity of it is, how do you vibrate in your heart? It's the energy of your heart that really gets you in tune with recognizing different level of life and consciousness around you.
Yeah, because the Zetas talk about standing in your energy, which when you are able to do that, you will see things much differently than everybody else around you that are not standing in their energy. You can see grass differently. You can see the trees differently. You can see it just different. It's more vibrant. You can see life within the tree. Everything. But learning how to stand in your energy is just becoming one with everything. I mean, it's hard to explain, but it's very important to do. That all comes down with meditation and just self preparation. All those factors together make a difference.
It does. It really is. And that's one thing I really had to attune myself when we were in South Africa. It's allowing myself to vibrationally attune my own energy to that of the environment, so I can be more attuned, be more receptive to the way people talk, the way that people feel, the way that people um, express themselves, to understand where they're coming from, understanding the way nature speaks everything. So that's a good point, and I have to readjust myself. So we have something a little fun here. We're going to bring another person to the chat room today, and it's my own and unique and one and only beloved husband, Peter Benson, everybody. Yay! Peter.
Hello. How you doing?
Great, man. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me on. It's fun.
Well,
Yeah, I've been listening to what you've been talking about so far. It was quite the experience down in South Africa with the flights and what we've seen off the side of the airplane. Actually, Viv has a video of a sighting coming out of
No
Qatar.
way. All right.
Oh yeah,
I
coming
got
out
a
of
couple of
Qatar.
videos I gotta show the people here too.
Yeah, but we had quite the experience down in South Africa. That's for sure.
we did. I don't know if you can increase your volume a little bit.
Oh,
Uh,
hold on.
Okay.
Is that better?
We really have quite an experience in South Africa, but I want to hear from you. How was the energy? How was it for you? How did you experience it for you, Peter, South Africa?
South Africa felt very. It depended on where you were. It really did. There was an overall heavier feel to the country. When we flew in, we could feel it. It was a little bit heavy, uh, and in the cities, it was kind of very dense. You could definitely feel the energy of the environment was very dense, um, and you can feel it. It was very palpable. When you went out into the as what they would call the bush, out and further away from downtown, you could feel it was actually more what do you call it, calmer, but you still had that overall presence of an energy that, to me, I'm not very sensitive to it, but it was an omnipresent energy to the entire country.
Hmm. Did you guys go over water at all? Did you guys see any of the coastline or?
When we flew in from Doha through, yeah, we were on the East Coast. We flew over mostly East Coast of of the African continent, actually.
Mm-hmm. How's the
Uh,
water look there?
It was actually the water when we went to the beaches there was actually more the city type was a little bit browner, but it was actually an emerald green with a little brown tint. But when we got to the what do you call it, the state parks or their
Mm-hmm.
federal type parks, the water was like this emerald green, like a little
Wow.
bit of an aqua tint to it, and it was beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
over here we have it blue. It's beautifully blue.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely the Indian Ocean was definitely different than what we're used to seeing.
Yeah, I never been
It's
to that part of the world.
This is my first time out of the country, and it was first time in South Africa. So
And you're right, Peter. Um, the Indian Ocean has this beautiful green emerald uh, energy and color to it. And what also struck me with the Indian Ocean compared to the Atlantic and Pacific is the Indian Ocean, and we saw it on two different coasts, like Peter just mentioned. It's the energy, it's much more forceful. It's constantly generate those waves. It's in constant state of movement. Um, and when the wave rolls, and that's where the beautiful rich green emerald color comes in, it's mesmerizing. To me, it was very mesmerizing. And I remember one time we were walking on the beach along the coast, just by the Indian Ocean. And I thought maybe, I said, maybe we need to feel and touch the water. Well, I kid you not, as soon as I thought this, the next wave came, and I can feel the energy of the ocean coming to us right at our feet.
Hmm.
It was incredible.
Well, you know that theory that I told you about the center, the Indian Ocean. There's a whole story behind all that. How that all became, how all the continents move and everything. It started from there.
yeah,
So you have that earth energy is there, the creation of it all.
You can really, really feel it. And personally, when we were on the first beach, we were sitting, and Peter and I were like just sitting, watching the ocean with our friend. And again, that's what I do. I project an essence of myself and I communicate. I want to be part of the vastness of the Indian Ocean. I want to be part of it. I want to understand its energy. I wanted to understand his history, his memories. And so I sent a thought form of an intention to communicate with the water, with the ocean itself. And what took place, and I know I mentioned that to you in private, Jeff, is that what I call one of the oceanic beings, and there's a lot of beings that lives in the ocean, as we know that, but one of the being came in this etheric form and stood right next behind me on my left side.
Mm-hmm.
And I could, through my peripheral, just I'm looking sideways, I could see a very tall, more masculine energy being that was not my Octern father, because my father was on my right side, so I knew. And he was gently just touching my head like this. I could feel the being physically with my eyes open. I was still gazing at the ocean. And I told my Octern father, I said, am I imagining, or is there a being there massaging the left part of my skull? And he said, yes, you called for them and they came. So it's one of these amazing being who live in the ocean energy or a higher dimensional level. And he came and I could feel it's humanoid. The way the being came is more humanoid, standing next behind me. And he was connecting to my brain connectors on my left side. And the being said, I am interested in connecting to your Arcturian part of you. And so the being and my Arcturian father were communicating with each other while my head is moving. And it was very much a very beautiful, interesting feeling to be physically, not only through physical sensory contact with this being, but also telepathically, and recognizing that what was happening at the same time. So the information the being took from me, and then of course there was an exchange done. He brought that back with him to in his own dimensional reality. Yes, that was an amazing experience, and it lasted, I would say, what felt like about at least 5 minutes of linear time. It felt long because I could still feel the movement of the fingers or the movement of the pressure around my head. It was very gentle, but very potent at the same time. And I could tell that he was want to learn about my Arcturian self. He was very intrigued by my intergalactic origin. And then they communicated, and then he brought that information back with him to what I assume his people, and back in the ocean. So do you remember the first beach we went on, Peter? This is where it happened.
Yeah, it's what they call that one. It was almost like rock salt beach or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because the sand was very grainy.
Yeah,
Yep.
almost like a light brownish color, kind
Yep.
of. Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot that we are not told about from the Indian Ocean, from that area of the earth. Just hush hush, don't even talk about it. It's untapped.
Yeah. And that's exactly why I wanted to communicate with the energy of the history. What is it? What's going on in the ocean? Because that's one thing I noticed so much is that it's in constant change. It's in constant energy. It constantly moves. It generates a lot of energy, and it's an ongoing process. So you can tell that compared to when we went to Florida, for example, or even California, you have waves, but the water has a distinct way of moving. It vibrates, moves in very differently than it felt there. It was absolutely a huge experience. I want to bring back very, very closely, just in short, the pyramid behind Peter. This is the Giza pyramid, with the tensor ring that Peter creates on top of it. So this is a part of our healing room here at our house with the Giza pyramid. So many people make comments about it. You may feel the energy. You want to make some comments about that, Peter, about the pyramid?
Like, yeah, it's a Giza pyramid. We have, let's see, I think we have at least over half a dozen rings in it. I think there's four on top and a couple, maybe three or four actually on the bottom. And they amplify the energy inside the pyramid. And there's also, if I scoot over a little bit here, there is a Merkaba. You can't really see it in there, but there's actually a copper Merkaba in there with a rose quartz sphere in it. And of course, we have it crystal gridded. If you look, you can see at the left side over there. That's a amethyst cathedral, and then we have a large amethyst geode and a large, I think that's a quartz piece in the back corner there. But yeah, it's that's where all the magic happens when Viv does her work in the house.
Oh, that stuff does work. I've been inside that. So yeah.
Yep.
It really does. And one thing about the Giza pyramid, the copper Giza pyramid, because we also have the Nubian. When many people have seen us in different conferences, we always bring, whenever we can, we bring our Nubian one. So the difference with the Giza is very much of a healing chamber. So whenever you are laying down inside, because this one is big, it's 10 feet by 10 feet, is that correct?
Yeah, it's it'll take up a whole room, 10 foot by 10 foot wide and deep, and it's just about 6 feet tall. But
And
the
it's copper,
Nubian,
right? Those
yeah,
tubes are copper.
yeah, it's copper. It's basic copper pipe, but we have copper junctions,
Hmm.
and then we use what do you call it? Conducting tape to actually join everything together. So all the junctions and all the copper turn into one solid unit electrically. And then it actually, based on when you do all that, it actually comes alive. You can feel the energy shift.
Yeah, we have one here, and that does work.
Yeah, yeah. And Viv was talking about the Nubian, and that particular pyramid actually works really well for for transporting it because it's obviously not as big. But that's 5 foot by 5 foot wide and deep, and it's about 7 feet, 7.5 feet tall. So
Hmm.
it's yeah, it barely fits in any room unless you have like when we do conferences, it'll fit in there because of very large ceilings in there. But you have to be careful when you put it up inside of a house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you also got the rings that are on the bottom too. So you sit in the ring. So there's a field on the bottom and the field on the top, and then all the stuff on the side.
Yeah,
So you
uh,
become part of that whole.
yeah. The tensor rings that are up on top and bottom create a what do you want to call it? They create torsion fields.
Right.
So it looks like a giant donut, but they actually project energy down and up from the ring, like a floodlight going top and bottom. And basically from there, you're getting the energy of each individual ring. And then when you're actually inside all of those, it creates multi-frequency vortex of energy you're in, and they all have their own frequencies, which actually help heal different aspects of your energy field.
Wonderful.
Ellie is asking, hello Ellie, asking, are the copper tubes hollow or filled with crushed crystals?
These ones, this older pyramid, this one does not have any crystals in the actual tubes. Um, the newer ones actually have not copper, quartz points, single quartz points wrapped with a little bit of copper, similar to what you would put in an organite, and they're slid into the actual tubes to give it a little bit more juice to it. And also, the junctions on the new ones on some of them, are actually crushed quartz inside the junction, so it creates a little bit more of a vibration.
Did you use salt?
Well, everybody uses selenite. That's a salt.
Yeah.
Eh, sorry about that.
Uh,
um, but yeah, salt. I mean, I don't think we use regular table salt type stuff or sea salt in there.
No,
Um,
like that the pink salt, right? That
yeah,
pink.
that's Himalayan.
Yeah, Himalayan salt would work, I would think. I mean, it's a salt
Well,
lamp, right?
we do have a giant salt lamp in the pyramid. Yeah, it's actually right behind me. Oh, I can't see it. It's right behind the chair there. But we have a salt lamp in the pyramid itself to help clear the air and the
Hmm.
ionization of the room.
Oh, look at Viviane with the what you got going on here, girl?
well,
um,
there are beautiful comment and appreciation for Peter's work, and I think that,
I think that's
we're
excellent.
very grateful to just show it from Cosmic Alchemist here. Simon also made a comment earlier, and I think there's so much that Peter puts so much work, love, energy, and attention to what he does that it's nice to see, that people are benefiting from his work and how much he touch them and help people. And that's what he does. This is why I want to show that on the screen today. Absolutely.
And on that comment of the Merkaba, we have a friend of ours who has picked up numerous of those Merkabas and added to their different pyramids. And it was reported back that it amplified the energy of the pyramid about tenfold.
Wow. So when you sit inside of a pyramid, okay, because I know some people in the chat has no idea. What happens when you sit in it? You and I, we all know, but give us a quick breakdown of what kind of energies does it really do, and why are the tension rings placed in that position?
We utilize the pyramid in a specific format right now. So the pyramid creates an energy safe space in one aspect. And what we do is we use binaural audio to actually help take people, kind of calm their mind down, get their ego out of the way, and just allow the energy to actually engulf their entire body, their entire being, and allow the energy to actually penetrate and go through and work on everything that you're actually, whatever Viv is working on or whatever you're working on. When I get into the pyramid, I end up feeling like that moment between when you're right about to fall asleep, that kind of in and out feeling, that kind of, you feel like you're vibrating, but you don't know what it is kind of thing. When you're in the pyramid like that, that's the kind of feeling it represents to, at least for me. I know everybody else has a different perspective on that because it's actually very experiential. But for me, that's how it feels like. What people sometimes say is like, if you can focus on that, that's how you'd actually etheric travel, is if you can focus on that particular vibration and stay there. But this is, for me, that's what the energy of the pyramid feels like. And I know when you're in there, it's like a 15-20 minutes of pyramid energy. And you come out of that and you need to ground yourself because you really don't feel connected. But after you're done, integrating all that energy, you feel amazing.
Yeah, I know that the first time that I went inside of one with Viviane, I didn't know what to expect, but when I got out of it, I felt like I was like almost like floating, and I had to sit down just to get my bearings back. But following that, and I knew how to work it, so when I got done, I just like came right back.
Yeah.
But the first time was a weird one.
Yeah, the first time you get in there, it's very, as I was saying, it's very experiential. And the first time you're in there, you're experiencing it, and you're not. It's like, this is new. This is
Right.
amazing. What is this? I mean, I've never felt like this before. What is this?
Right.
And then you articulate it into how you feel, and then try to understand.
But that's normal, So you just that's a normal feeling.
Yes.
There's a question in the chat room for you, Peter, and maybe also Jeff. There may be some input to that. Joan is asking, where should the Merkaba be positioned, around or within the pyramid?
Okay. For us, we put it right here right underneath the capstone. It's right inside the top of the peak, so it actually amplifies the energy of the pyramid right here at the top. And it's in the tensor rings are actually intersecting the Merkaba at the same time. That's as far as I know, and I know the individual who actually has these added to his pyramid. Yeah, so that's where he also places them, right at the
peak. I would assume that right now the energy is just like over the top, but as soon as you go inside of it, it focuses right down on you. Is that a correct assumption?
what I've
Because you're
discovered,
accepting the energy, so it'll just like whoop, come right down on you.
what I found originally with the pyramid was we were doing meditations in the pyramid and around the pyramid. If you were in the pyramid, you would feel a different sense of what the energy was. If you were on the outside of the pyramid, literally just on the outside edge of that where the copper is, it would feel like energy was literally just rolling off of the pyramid and rolling over you. It's like it would feel like a cool mist
Mm-hmm.
rolling down a hill, just rolling over you, and that's you could feel the energy almost cool, like flowing right over you. So the energy is two different states inside and outside of the pyramid.
Interesting.
Well, the thing is, the pyramid itself is also like a chamber of healing. Sometimes people call it an ascension chamber.
Yep.
I call it an interdimensional chamber because when you're inside of it, and the same thing with the Giza or the Nubian, in both cases, you're really going into a dimensional chamber of frequencies, and that allows you to, like you experienced, Jeff, contact in the desert that year.
Mm-hmm.
You were inside of the Nubian at the time. Nubian is very much more laser focused. It's it extract energy and redirect it in a very precise way. The Giza, it's a journey. It's like when you lay down in the Giza, you can really, it aligns with your heart center for one thing. So the Merkaba that Peter created with the rose quartz and the tensor field really amplify that. And at the bottom of the pyramid, Peter had also a huge tensor ring that amplifies sound. So some people ask in a chat room if you play crystal balls or if you have acoustic sound. Well, it will amplify the sound in the chamber because the pyramid is designed for this. So there's really very much different property. And yes, if you already have a pyramid, you can also add some tensor ring, like you can see at the bottom right now, right behind Peter. There's different tensor field added to it. And there's also underneath the chair where the client lay down. And I can tell you, even our cats, they take turns who is laying down in the pyramid, who's underneath the chair. They're always playing around the pyramid energy. They always go there to regenerate. Plus, in the four corner inside of the pyramid, we have also placed what I call a crystalline field, a beautiful crystalline field made of amethyst. We have those huge, how do you call that, like cathedral
Cathedrals,
stone?
yes.
Like huge cathedral stone. They're amethyst, and it forms a crystalline grid, an energetic crystalline grid inside of the pyramid. So it's very potent.
Yes.
Now I got a question about the tensor rings because I mess with your rings all the time, and some of them give me shocks, and some of them don't. Okay, so how does the people know which rings to get?
Well, we have the rings, and we've associated the rings with the chakras to help you understand which frequencies are which. Um, and it's not 100% um, focused on that particular chakra. They have multiple uses for each individual ring, so it's not just they're focused on a particular piece. But they do, like the lost cubit is working on your heart, the higher heart, your emotional field, but it also works on your aura and your
Mm-hmm.
etheric body. So I mean, it works on your heart and emotions, but it also does more. Um, and like the throat chakra, that's the Solomon's cubit. That works on changing the color of sound, and you could put that one around crystal bowls, like you were just mentioning, and it's like plugging a bowl into an amplifier. It makes the bowl resonate louder. It
Right.
resonates longer, and it actually changes the sound coming out of it. So if you actually have one bowl or two bowls, each are the same, and you put one ring around the other and play them both at the same time, they'll sound differently.
They're just telling me to remind everybody that the Panti when they sit inside their nutrient bath, they send a series of audio waves through it, and it makes them feel like they're on a roller coaster.
Cool.
So the audio, the sound bowls, is what got their attention. Is that it's the same thing? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So.
Yeah. I have a friend in Scottsdale here who did sound baths, and I ended up creating about 14 to 18 different rings. And she had the standard chakras, and she also had the higher chakra bowls. She had all 14 bowls. So she had the Solomon's cubit rings around all of them, and then a very like a 7-foot ring around the entire place where she was sitting. And when I first introduced them to her, I gave her 4 rings to experiment, and literally 2 days later, she said, "I need 10 more," so she could cover all of the bowls because it was just that powerful, and it changed the way the bowls were resonating, and the impact of the sound coming out of it was that much more powerful.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love those rings.
Yeah.
Speaking of the technology, whether it's tensor technology, pyramid, energetic consciousness, I know that there's a lot of shift going on the planet right now. Global changes, planetary change, the grids. We felt it in Africa, just in the ley lines. There's a lot of purification going on. So questions that we're getting a lot is, how do we prepare for all these shifts? And I would like to clarify something, is that it's not just the coming shift. We have been going onto ongoing vibrational changes on the planet. Look just at the last 2 years or so. So it's simply different level of shift that we're moving into. So let's go around the table, all 3 of us, even with the Ponte Jeff. What can we recommend for people to prepare and better be attuned to go through the ongoing process of change and shifts?
Well, I've always said, and the Ponte have always, and I stay by their word, is the self-care with meditation. That's the first thing you got to do. Okay. And then from that point, and you can develop your frequency, your vibration, your resonance, whatever you want to call it. But it all starts with meditation, a slowing down of the heart, energy coming in, energy going out, and just being that conduit. And you can withstand any changes you ever occur.
Beautifully said. I agree. What about you, Peter?
Well, for me, it goes back to when I was starting. Well, I was a little bit into my journey towards opening up and experiencing more. I had that channeled message that came in from Archangel Metatron, and he gave me the tools that a couple people in the chat room I've already mentioned is the anklets. That was the message, and it's like told me exactly how to create them, and these are the stones, and it's supposed to protect your vibration while everybody around you is shifting. Now, it's not 100% like a shield. It's actually protecting. If you look at it as a shield, it's not necessarily that. It's just protecting your vibration from others' energies and others' interference. So it creates it creates a vibrational protection to it. It's not like put all shields up, Scotty, kind of thing. It's not the same thing. It's more energetic and emotional. But for that, it was just like, for me, that helped me considerably as a very empathic and water-based, Cancer being water and stuff like that. So I used to absorb everything that came through, and with the Metatron anklets, those things helped me considerably. And at this point, I just wouldn't go without them when I go out, as far as protecting my own energy and understanding the shift that's coming through, or we've been through, going through.
That's a key word. Understanding the shift we have been experiencing and remembering who we are. It's also a return to identify and see ourselves in a higher light. It's every day. It's like also what Jeff said and what just Peter mentioned, is allowing yourself on a day-to-day, allowing yourself to be present, going to this gentle meditative state to be able to really listening to higher guidance, allowing us to give yourself permission to change and shifts and to see yourself in different perspective. The Octurne speaks about Allow yourself to shift your perspective, being open-minded. Opening your mind is huge because it allows you to better understand what those shifts and changes are truly about, as opposed to be caught up in the emotional aspect of those changes and also the narrative that brings us into those mental trap, and then it's like a spiral that is nonstop. So when you see yourself fluctuating, which is normal, what we always say is bring yourself back into your center, breathe through your heart, ask different questions. What I'm feeling right now, is it truly coming from me? Or am I just very sensitive to perceive different layers of emotions and energy that comes from others, the collective consciousness, the global changes, Mother Earth, and allow yourself to make a difference where you stand in all of this. So, and definitely what we do to support people, our podcast is a support system. We also have our monthly Arcturian holographic group healing, 2 powerful hours we offer every month. It's very affordable. It's $50 for the 2 hours. And believe me, you get a lot out of it. How can you find the links? It's on our website under events. You can register. The next one, it's on Saturday, April 30th, 11 a.m. Pacific time. We also have free meditation every month to support you, are here on our channel, on our YouTube channel. So make sure you like us, you subscribe. Viviane Chauvet, Galactic Healer. I'm going to put the link in the chat room. We already have a library of past videos, meditation, that you can also listen to. So there's different support system. And I would add another layer to that is be mindful of what you accept in your reality. Where are you investing your energy every day the most? Are you constantly looking online to see what is the latest news? Take it with a grain of salt. One thing my husband Peter right here teach me, he always says, release, ebb and flow. How do you say that? Ebb and flow?
Ebb and flow. Let the water come in, let it go back out. As things get worse, they will get better.
Ah, yes, and the flow of how we shifting. So allowing yourself to be more in sync is release mental expectation and ask through soul guidance. What is the best for you at this time, and looking at these incredible shifts that we're going to experience even more so as we move from now all the way to the summer solstice. There's more changes coming in. There's also a rise of the light. There's an ascending energy coming through. So the more you're grounded into yourself, into your light, and the more you're also allowing Mother Nature, Gaia, to support you, it's going to be able for you to glide through the waves of change with more ease, as opposed to resistant, kicking and screaming, so to speak. And just a figure of speech, of course. That makes sense. Does that resonate?
Yes, I got a message from Denise. She wants to tell everybody that the lessons you learn right now about meditation, you carry with you for your rest of your journey. So learn it now, so you don't have to learn it later.
That is wonderful. Absolutely. Yeah.
Wise words from an old lady.
Well, there's no age to be wise, so we accept the wisdom. Lesson learned, it's also earned wisdom. And it is very, very, very true. I would like to, yes, I'm going to share the link, absolutely the link to my YouTube channel. You will see all the video, all the past meditation are there. They're completely free. And we also have, I would say, our past episodes. We have many. This is season 3 for the Infinite Star Connections. So there's many other interviews that might be very valuable information, that we do. We also do a clearing at the end. So definitely to check it out. I want to talk briefly about Peter last pendant, because I brought this one with me to South Africa. I want to show everybody. Look at the multiple tensor field within this one pendant. This is a dimensional pendant. And when Peter first created his pendant, he came to me and he said, "What do you think about this one?" I said, "Oh my God, you just created a dimensional portal with this, with a multitude of tensor field." And I say, "I'm going to grab it and wear it when we go to South Africa." And so this pendant here has gone with me through safari, to the Indian Ocean, to I flying to Qatar, flying to London, flying to everywhere. So the energy that it contains, it's incredible. It's like a micro world of energy combined in one, and it has made a big difference for me. So thank you for that.
They didn't stop you at the airport for that? Really?
It's copper.
It's copper.
Well,
Ferrous metals are what's triggering everything.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. So what is it called? Ellie is asking me. How would you call your latest creation, Peter? How would you call this one?
That one we haven't named it yet. That one actually has a unity ring in it, Raman qubit, and a galactic qubit ring in it. So it's galactic is your higher self. Raman is a third eye and connecting and working through stuff really quickly. And the unity ring is grounding and aligning chakras and collecting soul aspects. And that pendant actually has basically a Archangel Metatron pendant into it and an Archangel Michael pendant in it.
Wow.
So that one actually is energy shielding, and with the turquoise calming, green mica heart healing, and the selenite out around the actual, the selenite's just outside the first ring, and that's actually very clearing. So yeah, the energies coming off that are crazy.
I bet your whole house is crazy with energy. You know?
Yes.
Yes, there is. There is.
Like glowing at night. Woo, 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 you know? Yeah, she lives right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot of energy here. There's lots of portal. I'm constantly in healing sessions, so there's always portal opening. I like the way. Thank you everyone for the compliment on Peter's creation, and many of you have said the word portal should be in the name. So I agree with you. What I saw is a powerful dimensional portal. So I'm going to have to make sure that the word dimensional and portal part of the name for the new creation. I'm glad that some of you, as we saw each other in Manchester, Louise, that was awesome. An energy beacon portal. Yes, very much so.
Now, you guys are also going somewhere too, right?
Yes.
Pretty soon here.
Yes. Peter and I will be at the New Living Expo in San Mateo, California. It is May 6th to 6, 7, 8 to the 8th, so that weekend, the first weekend in May. We're going to be vendors, so Peter work will be available. We will have the Nubian pyramid, the tall one that you remember, Jeff, at the conference. We're going to have the Nubian pyramid, and I'm going to be doing a lecture on Friday evening. I'm on 2 panels, a UFO panel with Lorian on Saturday, and I'm on the Ascension panel with Laura Eisenhower on Sunday. So come check it out. It's the New Living Expo. All the information on our website, everybody. So check our website, infinitehealingfromthestars.com. It's right here on the screen. Infinitehealingfromthestars.com. Under events, all the conferences are listed there. The links, you can click on it. See the venue, beautiful venue. Please come see us. We will be there. So we have a question for you, Peter, in the chat room from Akire. So does it, most likely dependent, absorb all positive energy from where you are at that time?
I'd need a clarification on that a little bit.
Yes, if you can maybe what do you mean by absorbing all positive energy?
Maybe she means, does it enhance?
And an answer?
Possibly.
you're going to get the energies from the actual tensor rings themselves. So that's going to be your higher three chakras, and your star chakra, which is the unity ring. Um, so you'll get the positive energies out of those three. Um, and with the energy protection you have for the Metatron side of things, it'll actually create a energy like a field above your emotional field to protect your vibration as yours. Um, as far as absorbing others' energies, no. What you want to do is actually that's going to be repelling other vibration, especially emotionals. It's not going to allow that through unless you allow it. And on that particular note, these tools are 100% intention based. So
Hmm.
you can allow or not allow energies in or out of that field. And you can give the pendant a particular task to do. Um, we actually, a few years back, we were in Sedona and we were under attack, and Viv put on a pendant.
I remember that.
And
Yeah.
basically, we were driving down the road. I gave her my pendant, and she put it on. And I was like, "Well, now tell the pendant to make you invisible to anybody that would do you harm," and the attack stopped right then and there. So
See,
it's
these are wild and crazy stories that people don't believe until they become a certain energy being of sorts, where you are emanating energies that others can feel, right? And they go to you and try to grab that energy. Most
yeah,
people have no idea that that stuff goes on, but it happens all the time. It happens in other worlds too, not just the Earth.
yeah, yeah. There's other beings out there that are very hungry to absorb other
Hmm.
people's energy, especially
Yep.
positive energy. Or on this planet, they like absorbing fear, so they generate a lot of it.
Right. That's what Teeny says. Just do your due diligence here because you take it with you.
Yeah,
Yes, yes, it really is. It's all about you how much light you gain in your life, everything that you do, that you learn, experience, grow from, expand from in this lifetime. Everything counts. You bring the sum of all of your experiences, your wisdom, your light with you. This is very much where your richness is. This is where
Mhm.
your wealth is. So when you transform it, it's time for you to move on to the next level of expansion and the soul level. That's the next level of experience beyond the earth. Then you have all of this with you. And it's one thing that many souls who have crossed from the earth plane onto the celestial realms of light, it's all about the love, the light, and their deeds, what they have accomplished that they bring with them. Everything else become obsolete. It's become non-existent. So the more you put intention every day, then I live in resonance with my light. I'm here to be of service. I'm here to anchor more light, to help to change positively the shift of the planet in a positive way. I am a pillar of light that contributes to that. It makes a big difference. One person makes a difference for thousands.
Hmm.
So the impact that we have on each other, on the land, on the direction of the ascension timeline, on the direction of the consciousness, how we're anchoring the light makes a huge difference. Sometimes people feel like, well, it's just me. What can I do? This is too big for me. Quite the contrary, it is the good news. You are too big for what's going on. That's the other way around, actually. So think about it this way: reverse the table. You are too big for what's going on, meaning that you are filled with light. And trust that. Isn't that what you remind me all the time, Peter?
yes. Basically, and what I keep telling her is like Vivian is a super powerful being, and she just needs to realize who she really is. Um, and what another piece I wanted to add to what you were saying a minute ago is we need to actually understand the energy we are. We are extremely powerful. The instruction manual is tossed out. So we need to figure out how to make it work and how we understand all the energies that we're impacted by, what we generate, what other people generate, how to understand these. And the tools is how I understand the tools that I create are just basically understanding how do you understand the energies that you're that you feel. The shielding of it allows you to understand who you are. Like creating a bubble around you to protect you from other vibrations. It allows you to feel your vibration and how you respond to things. So it's they're like, what do you want to call it? Training wheels. They're intention training wheels. They're tools to help you understand your energy.
Yes, very, very well said. And remembering that everything is energy. Energy is light and consciousness. So like Jeff said earlier and Peter said beautifully, what can we do to support ourselves on a day to day? It's really much higher discernment, recognizing that we are made of pure energy and who we really are. We're returning to living in a more community base, being also attuned with each other, being attuned with different form of life, animals, trees. We were talking about the elementals and how when we were in London, just at the airport, how the elementals of the land was already communicating with me. So it's to be present in your environment, to be present, to be able to recognize that you may be energy sensitive. So if you go outside in public, you may feel drained. Well, this is why Peter created those tools with the anklets, the pendant, the pyramid, and other ways, meditation, being able to ground into the earth, just to feel, to recognize I am energy sensitive. It doesn't have to prevent you from communicating and being in the public and being in the presence of other people. At the same time, just recognize this is part of your gifts. And what to do with that, clear yourself. Breathe to the gateway of your heart. Be very present, right?
Yep, exactly.
Jeff?
Of course.
Actually, absolutely. I would like to share, if that's okay, because it's been calling me. I would like to share on the screen right now one of the beautiful stones that we picked up in South Africa, right in a national park. I think we were at it's called Saint Lucia, Saint Lucia. And one of the national park, one of the first park we've done for when we went on a safari, and we saw so many amazing animals. I mean, rare ones. Even a black rhino. I never seen a black rhino in my life. And we saw one. Remember that black rhino coming peacefully on the side of the road next to us. So I like to shine a stone because I feel like the energy from it will speak even to the screen. Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah. You rock and roll.
Okay. Alrighty. So I think that's one of the stones we picked directly from South Africa, one of the park. Look at the beauty of it. Look at the different complexity of structure, color, even the form. And I'll take it from the back here.
Is that a volcanic stone?
It looks like it. If you know what I felt, this stone, here's the story about this one. I saw it first, and Peter picked up two other stones that I have with me, of course. And then he thought that I only want the other stone, so he threw that one back on the ground. I literally heard the stone, this rock, said to me, "Hey, why are you disposing of me?" It was rude. And I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I told Peter, "Why did you throw that one?" He said, "Well, I did not know you wanted it." I said, "Yes." So I went back and picked it up. The stone wanted to be with me. He said, "You have to bring me with you," because it liked the other stone we picked, and they're a pair, literally.
Oh, wait,
And
cool.
look at it. Isn't that the different energy and even underneath it?
I like the different facets of it. I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's almost like a face, or there's an energy, right?
Yeah, it's like a dark brown, light brown, and a black to it, and it's amazing colors.
Yeah, I like also the shape of it. It's almost like, to me, that it has a face, with the top here, and I can really feel it. And then its counterpart is that one here. That one was also, this one is flatter, or square, flatter. You can see. But these two combined together, they're a pair. And that's what the stone told me. It says, hey, I cannot be without this like we're like energetically together. So these are the two stones that we brought directly. And what is unique about these stones, not only they're completely native from South Africa, but they're also in a conjunction between a national park and right before we went to the beach to go by the Indian Ocean. It was right in the middle. Remember, it was on the way back from the Indian Ocean out of the beach, coming back into the park that we found these two stones. And yeah, they look like they can be related to each other, and they're very complementary in their energy. So I wanted to share that with people, with our beautiful audience, with everyone watching us today. I think there's another. Yes, you saw a face, Doreen. I did. I saw a face too in it. And it looks like an obsidian with coincidental fractures stone. There's very much a different energy, almost like volcanic, like you mentioned, Jeff. It's really incredible. Yeah, it looks like a volcanic stone. I completely agree. Yes, the two anklets will keep you grounded. I thought there was a question. I was looking in the chat room. Okay,
Yes.
I got.
No. She was asking if she has one anklet, should she have two? There was only one instance where the person we met, it was actually in Las Vegas. This individual came up and was completely not grounded, only on half of her body. So we put an anklet on the left, I think it was the left side of her, and she walked away fully grounded and balanced. But everybody else, it's pretty much you need to actually ground yourself on both legs. So you really need to.
What about the one that I got for my wrist? I mean, I just wear that on my left wrist. And
the anklet?
No, it's the one that you made for me. It's like an anklet, I guess, but I put it on my wrist.
You can wear them on your wrist if you want to. I'm not sure of how potent it would be compared to being on your ankle or not.
Right.
I know, what was it? What's his name? Sulu, George Takai.
Mm-hmm.
And his husband actually have an anklet, and he was wearing it as a bracelet because he actually loved it. So,
yeah.
I mean, it looks kind of like industrial-ish, cool design. Yeah. So I just put it on my wrist. I'm not gonna walk around with an anklet thing. It's kind of, that's not me.
No, I end up putting them on, and then I actually just roll a sock over them.
Yeah,
that's how I do it.
I think that would bother my ankle, like something's like, brings back memories of when I was younger.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think that would be an opportunity for you to clear those memories when you were younger.
No. No, we won't. We won't visit that one.
Let's just say maybe for some other time.
Yeah. Yes. Oh yeah.
Absolutely. So what we would like to do now is that one more question and we'll do a clearing before we wrap up for today. Thank you for staying with us. We'll do a beautiful clearing to bring the energy to a completion and also to support all of us and all of, together as we are shifting. And I know April feel multiple layers of energetics. What is the term you use, Peter, to describe April's energy? With like a blender.
Wet.
Yeah, no, that was a blender of energy this month. It's gonna go. It feels like we're in a super fast vortex where positive energy, negative energy. It's just like up, down, up, down, up, down. It's gonna be extremely fast. At least that's how I feel.
Mid-May. Remember what your dad said. Going to hold him to it.
Yeah, it's coming. And of course, beginning of May, if you come to the San Mateo area, San Francisco area, to the New Living Expo, come see us at the conference. We're going to be there all 3 days. Come see the panels as well. It's going to be amazing. I know that some of our Patreon members, so we want to say hello to our community, will be coming also. Can't wait to see you in person. We're also going to be back in Mount Shasta this year, Peter and I. I'm back as a speaker. I'm going to do a lecture. I'm going to be doing a workshop. So for those of you who have come and met us last year in Mount Shasta, come back, see us again this year. It's going to be July 6th to the 10th, July 6th to the 10th with Mount Shasta. But now next month, New Living Expo. So that will be, I don't think it's going to be televised, Kath, John, these conferences as well, that I don't think there's a live feed for them, but you can always check online, and all the links are on our website. Again, Infinite Healing from the stars.com, the store, and all the events are there. So the sun is already reacting. There's always solar energy. There's always coming in and out. So let's bring ourselves into our center as we're going to be wrapping up today. Stay with us. We'll do this energy to also support you. So with Peter energy, with the pyramid vibrating, Jeff with the Ponti, thank you for holding the space. Just let's get into your center. If you would please just close your eyes just for a few minutes. Yeah, let's take a few deep breaths. Today we bring the gentle energy of the sun, the gentle solar rays of light to come and bring through your crown chakra, to gently to illuminate, balance, and energize your entire chakra system. Just feel the gentle rays of the solar frequencies coming through, moving through your spine, balancing the front and the back of all of your chakras, known and unknown. Breathing deeply and slowly into this renewed energy, clearing negativity out of your field, out of your heart, and out of your mind. To restore clarity, higher discernment, expanding your energetic field, and to feel that you're returning into a higher grounded aspect to yourself and with the earth. To feel that you have both feet on the ground as much as you are connected to the celestial realms and all there is. Let's just keep breathing, allowing everything to flow as we gently bringing the solar rays of light to gently attune your body template to the next level of shifts and vibrational changes. Beautiful. Feel also this solar energy warming up your heart, expanding your own light, your wisdom, trusting your intuition and your knowingness. Always in the resonance of your higher light, your higher self. And also through your I am presence. I am that light. I am. And so it is. Let's take a deep breath and release. Beautiful. You're now welcome to open your eyes. Excellent. That was just beautifully enough to help to refresh, balance, and re-bring yourself to connect so you can being able to go on your day and being able to stay in connection with yourself. Peter, my dear, I'm so glad you were able to jump in today, very surprisingly. Again, we send our best and best wishes and best light to Rey Hernandez and his family, hoping everything is all right. And I'm sure that Rey will be back with us at another time on the Infinite Star Connections. But today, Jeff, my dear friend, and Aponte, as always a joy to be here.
Excellent. Yeah, they were just holding hands. They're just great. They're great. They're great.
It's been amazing. And we went from South Africa to traveling to elementals, talking about TensorField with Peter, the energy of the Pyramid Giza behind us, the mineral kingdom, consciousness, how we can help each other, and also different resources. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook as well. Remember, we're here to be of service. And we'll be back next week, actually. This month, it's a bit unique because of our trip. We have to do 2 episodes back to back. Next week, Sunday, April 24th, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. What will happen next week? Come find out. It's always great no matter what. Peter, my dear, thank you so much for your work. Jeff,
so much.
always a pleasure. I'm very grateful for both of you. And yes, thank you. And we are grateful for you. Thank you for tuning in. And everybody who's going to be listening. We'll see you next Sunday, April 24th. Stay in your light. Namaste, everyone.